Last week was the 8th week of the 2010 Kansas legislative session. As we've reported earlier, the big issue and the largest focus is trying to come up with budgets that meet the expected revenues that the state expects to take in. The big challenge at the start of the session is trying to make adjustments in the budget year that we're in now, which is fiscal year 2010. And although they made some changes and passed a bill a couple of weeks ago to make adjustments, they have since learned that they're still over $100 million below what they thought last year. And so we're continuing to see the budget committees trying to find that money and cut those budgets for this fiscal year. And the big challenge after that is crafting a 2011 budget, which will start July 1 of this year, and reduce potentially $450 million. So it's been quite a challenge, a difficult issue, particularly because previous budgets have been cut already. So when you look at state budgets, of course, the big focus is on, one, how much money the state will spend, which has been what's been under the radar considerably. Now we're starting to see some more discussions about, is there the will or is there support for some type of tax or revenue increase? And the start of that probably occurred last week when the House Taxation Committee advanced a bill, which is House Bill 2549. And they did what is somewhat unique, and that is pass the bill out without any recommendation for the whole purpose of getting it to the House floor for debate. This is a sales tax exemption repeal bill, and when the bill was first introduced it contained many repeals, but as the bill now goes to the House floor, the big change is a repeal of the sales tax exemption for residential utilities. That's projected to raise about $140 million if ultimately passed. Some of the previous proposals, including repealing the sales tax exemption on businesses' utilities, but that is not in the bill to date, and of course an issue that business groups, including the Kansas Livestock Association, would have big concern with. The other provision in the bill would be to do away with the sales tax exemption that churches and religious entities have for purchases that they make. So we can expect here in the next week or so to see a full debate on the House floor, and we'll see lots of amendments offered to repeal other sales tax exemptions, and of course that will be something that the Kansas Livestock Association will be watching and guarding and lobbying on, because our members have made it very clear that those business type sales tax exemptions, and for livestock producers, would be a lot of your inputs, including feed and medicine, the sale of livestock, and so those are big ticket items and ones that our members have repeatedly asked for us to defend. We also have seen some more dialogue about the challenge that the Flint Hills ranchers are facing with the Environmental Protection Agency's request to the state that the state adopt a smoke management plan for prescribed burning in the Flint Hills. And as a review, this is being requested by EPA because last year there were 2 dates in April where there was a large enough amount of smoke with weather conditions that caused cities of Wichita and Kansas City to exceed their regulatory threshold for ozone levels. So it's a big challenge, and it's one that we've engaged in at the state level. The state legislature can do very little about this, but the one action that they've taken is introduce a resolution, which is Senate Concurrent Resolution 1623. And that's intended to send a message to the Environmental Protection Agency and Congress saying that this smoke management plan will be very difficult to adopt and comply with by our ranching community, and ask them to figure out a way to make that change. We've made several addresses to the committee that's considering this resolution, and pointing out that it would be very complex for ranchers to go through a daily permitting system to seek approval to burn when there's other conditions that are already at bear, and that is weather conditions, wind drift, and the amount of labor and help that ranchers have to plan their burns. I think probably the most compelling testimony was given by Dr. Clinton Owensby, a noted range specialist from Kansas State University, who's cooperated on research for over 50 years that clearly shows that there are ecological benefits to burning on an annual basis, and there are certainly economic benefits with an average of 32 pounds of gain on burned Flint Hills pastures versus unburned. So we expect this week that the Senate Natural Resources Committee will go back to that issue and likely pass a resolution pointing to this as an issue and asking EPA and Congress to fix. This week we'll see some more wrap up on budgets, and the budgets that we'll be monitoring are those for the Kansas Animal Health Department and the Kansas Department of Agriculture. And we look forward to briefing you on these and other issues next week.